trifecta.
And
you have a beautiful blue Tesla.
My wife has got a beautiful blue car.
Is the check engine light anything
right.
serious?
Oh, probably not, but it's just.
You are live on YouTube.
A pain.
Okay, it is 3:03 p.m. according to my watch, which never agrees with the clock in this room. So we're calling this meeting to order, a regular meeting of the Waterville Valley Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, June 23rd. And our first item is privilege of the floor. And I notice we have a few people here who are not normally here. So we'll give you the courtesy of going first. John, do you want to go?
Sure. Okay. So I'm back here on follow-up in regards to the dumpster platform. And what I found out is we can get a hard pack reclaimed asphalt to put in there. And it's a 8 inches deep, 12 by 12. It'll last 12 to 15 years. It's about $1,200 or less.
So,
That's
so
what
the
we'll do.
association is off to do that. Is that correct?
Yeah, can we do that,
Can they do that?
please?
Jim
As opposed to
Mayhew?
the concrete
As
requirement.
opposed to a concrete or a paved surface, which is what our regulation requires.
I found a reclaimed asphalt.
Asphalt, yeah, that would probably bind better than most any other material I can think of, other than concrete or asphalt, so.
Well, so this is not an actual, this isn't asphalt, this is reclaimed asphalt
Right.
that is compacted like a gravel compaction.
Yep, right.
So it's not like a bituminous connected,
No.
it's just a soft pack that a dumps, that moving the dumpster will affect.
Well, it won't. I'm told that it will last 12 to 15 years from settling down.
But I'm talking about the rolling, the metal.
So, yeah,
Or
so
Jim,
it's
can
not
you
a
grab that on
hard
that?
surface, it's a gravel type surface.
Yeah.
It's just, it's compact.
They'll just have to keep track of maintenance on it and see if the movement of the dumpster,
Digs it up.
digs it up or dislodges it.
Yeah, and if you guys want to take that chance, if
But who's
Jim.
gonna be responsible for maintenance of it? That's gonna be the
Well,
issue. Are we gonna
Well, it's
claim?
ours.
Oh, no, I get it, but are we gonna say the truck did it and? I'm just playing it 2 steps down the road where in the past we've had issues
maybe the
with
truck
people
gouged it.
saying that the truck gouged it or this the chain from the truck.
Well, if the worst that happens is we pave over it.
All right.
It'll be a good base for paving.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to pave.
That's the worst case. And we'll be glad to have our inspector come take a look at it whenever he wants.
He'd be the inspector for that.
But if that's okay, I would like to see if we could try that and maybe pass that word on and see how it works for everybody.
Yeah, and if we think it works, then we probably ought to modify the
Well, I
instruction.
don't think we'll know if it's gonna work for a couple of years from now. But I think the idea is you'll have to pull a permit because of the cost, correct?
Yep.
So just do we have a problem with the permit?
Yeah, get the permit done. We can conditionally approve it. We'll review it each year
Okay,
after. And so put it in a year from then, we'll review it, say whether or not you have to pave it. And then after 2 years, we'll check it again the second year and then potentially let it continue.
that's fair enough. Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Okay,
So there'll be a 1-year review. And we'll see how it does each season.
Okay,
Okay, but anytime in that first year, Jim can say it's not working. You gotta pave over it.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah, we have to do one or the other anyway, so this is another option that maybe will work.
Yeah.
So,
so we'll test it.
That could be a nice pilot test for
Yeah.
later downstream, as you were saying, Margaret.
Mhm.
all right, thank you.
Thank you,
Good
John.
job.
And if you are coming up to speak, actually, if you come all the way up to the microphone, you will actually show up on our video now.
Oh, do you want to redo it?
You may change our mind. Take the decision and go.
Okay, I think we have some folks here from Chapel Committee, but I don't see Tom here. Did you want him to
No,
be here?
Tom couldn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to go? Yeah.
Sure. Okay, well, thanks again for having us again. The board, we met and we told them what you had asked for from us at our last meeting. And we felt that it would be really difficult for us in our fundraising efforts to have to raise the total amount before the land could be sold to us. Just because when we had spoken to most people about the chapel, it was with the condition that we would have the land and then start building. So what we were hoping is possibly in your agreement with us, that there could be a clause written in there that if the funds weren't raised within, say, 3 to 4 years, that the land would revert back to you, that you would obviously buy the land back from us plus whatever interest we owed on the amount. That was sort of the feeling of the board. So we're just sort of putting that out to you, and maybe we could sit down and talk and negotiate about it a little bit. The only other suggestion too was that would it be easier if we work with just one of you board of selectmen in going through all these sort of little nitty gritty things, and then come to the full selectmen. Anyway, that's something to consider. And I don't know if Katie has any other thing to add. Do you, Katie?
That was
Yeah.
the big part of what we talked
Yeah.
about.
Okay. I think there is an issue over there being just one selectman involved, because one selectman cannot speak from the board. And so, you know, I might have personal feelings that I convey to you, and then you come before the full board and we find out they don't agree with me. So I think that would be a little bit difficult to do. But Mark is always available to assist, you know,
Right.
with any kind of thing. He will probably be the person who's working with a lawyer to draft up the agreement at any rate, and you know, he's always available to assist, and he
Should I
usually
still be
comes.
standing up on it?
Sorry, that's okay. That's okay. And he will also come to us with recommendations, having been involved in the
Right.
discussions
Well,
with you.
Mark and I spoke previously to this meeting, and I expressed my concern about our fundraising efforts. So I think he understood.
Okay,
I might have an idea.
yeah,
I think the idea without you purchasing the land, and I think any purchase would have to have a reverter, and it wasn't built in a certain time period.
Oh, absolutely.
The problem with the reverter, thinking about it through, is that we can agree that we would buy the land back, but we're a board that might not exist in a couple of years. I know definitely won't exist in this shape in a couple of days, a couple of months.
Whoa, wait a minute.
But the idea
hope that was
that you might be able to do, or we might be able to do, is if we could accelerate the process and exercise an option with you folks, where you folks could go for, say, $1, you have an option on the land. So you could go to your people and say, listen, we have optioned the land. We have to come up with these commitments to go through with the purchase and sale. It's progressed beyond the fact that the town will let us buy it. We've worked out a deal, we've worked out a price, we've worked out all of this. We've exercised the beginning of the option period. So I think anyone who is going to donate in something like that would probably, it would be more explainable to them and more understandable to them that you do have a solid contract by having an option. As opposed to that, if you would have to raise, or whatever it was, say it's $200,000. You'd have to raise $200,000. We'd have to go to the expense of having it subdivided. Then you would also have to have the plans to the planning board to see what you can build and everything else that before you have the money. So what happens to your donors if you get the land and it stalls out at that phase? But I think if you have the option, you could raise the money and without expending any, and put it in a lockbox. That, you know, we're only going to use your money for specific reasons until we get to the point of purchasing it.
Okay, just to be clear, would we then have to raise the price for the land that you are going to?
Well, that's what we don't know. That's further discussions. I'm just trying to give you a way to go to your donors and say, this is what we're doing. But I think what we would do by us getting together an option program, we would have an established price, an established formula for the price, as opposed to, we've been talking very broad strokes so far.
So Mike, I just want to make sure I
Yeah.
understand. So it's they pay us $1. They have 3 years to raise X amount of, or 2 years, whatever.
Well,
To raise an amount of money to actually purchase the land.
well, we get into all of those other options at times once we create this option document,
Okay,
where it would say, listen, you're giving us $1 today. You have the option to buy this within so many years, but to buy this, you must do this.
okay.
Okay, so to buy.
And
this
if you
is-
don't buy this, everybody has to do that.
Who creates that document?
Some meeting of the minds somehow.
We did something very similar
Yeah.
with the pond, when the Waterville Company donated the pond.
Okay.
There was an agreement that laid out 7 or 8 different requirements before the town would take ownership of the pond. So basically, we're gonna do the same thing.
Well, we're talking
But,
about,
but we're talking about an official, you pay
Right.
us money, $1,
Right.
to have this option on the
Yeah.
land. So
Okay.
you can go out to your donors and you can say, here's the parcel. We can own this if we meet these requirements. So we're raising money
Okay.
to actually, but the land is committed within this
Right.
document.
we've
under
taken
certain
it to
conditions.
the next step
Yeah.
without you guys spending a lot of money
Okay.
And
but
without
just-
us creating a deed or anything like that,
or a
just to
subdivision.
be
or a
clear-
subdivision, yeah.
Just to be clear, so in other words, say you come up with a price for the land of 175,000. We then put $1
$1 down.
down.
Yeah.
And that offer sits for 1 year, 2 years.
Whatever the
Whatever
terms
Whatever
are.
the term.
And then-
Okay.
and no-
And then, like,
Yeah.
so, but the whole price of the building is way,
that's something we have no control over.
And
okay,
so
You know-
what he's saying, from my interpretation, what you're saying is that is not a contingent piece of the
okay,
option.
it's not a contingent.
Well, there
piece.
might be a contingent piece of that you might have to raise a certain amount, to make sure you're going through, or you can't put something in the ground until you've raised so much money.
Yeah, so break it down into purchase of the land and the building of the building, but there would still be a condition in the document that we're talking about creating right away that says you must have 70%, 80% of the money committed before you start construction or something like that. I mean, that's
Okay.
part of what we talk about.
Yeah.
That was
that's
one of the
reasonable.
concerns that people were saying, that, if we don't want a foundation there by accident.
Sure.
Right, and
Yeah.
there also, remember, we've talked about, there has to be a business plan that shows ongoing maintenance, and there may be another document that goes with the deed that talks about when the building is built, X, Y, and Z has to
Right.
happen. There has to
Right.
be a maintenance process or whatever.
Right,
Sure,
but
so going back to Bertie's first question, or actually I think it was your second question about who to work with on that, we work with you,
Yeah,
Mark,
you
on
work
that
with me.
directly.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your statement, Mike, about the changing of the board, I don't think that has any relevance then if we
no,
have
it does with any option. It's why we can only do a 3-year lease when we buy town's equipment,
Okay,
because we agree to it, and the idea is those people are gonna be there for 3 years.
I
Okay.
think the,
This could be 8 years down the road, and
Right.
none of us
Yeah.
might be on the board, and we can't make a commitment for another board to follow through. Same thing was, we can't commit town money outside of a year for town meeting. We can't speak for next year's town meeting.
we have the authority, the warrant article that was approved gave us the authority to negotiate with the chapel committee over the next year.
Right, and we've got
on
to
the
complete this
terms.
before March.
and
That would be
knowing
the
that
key.
this option would
That would
With
be,
A-House.
Right,
That
once we
would be-
negotiate
that's
it,
right.
then you got it.
I think the reason for the option is you can get the land acquisition done. And then your shovel worthiness is the second part of it.
Well, and I mean, that's our big part. And so
Right.
if this terminology that you're using fits that issue, then that's great for us. We just didn't want to, we can't be contingent on this whole thing at $2 million to understand that we have an agreement for just the land. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Oh,
that,
I get it, and that's what has
fits
to be
this
spelled
purpose.
out in the stages.
Okay.
That you get, that's why we asked for all of these things, so we know what, everybody knows what we're talking about.
Okay.
So we don't run 2 years down and you guys have spent all this money and all that, and it's been misinterpreted on one side or the other.
Right. And particularly for people who are donating, probably.
Right.
And with this option, they would then be able to say, it's not available for anybody else to purchase.
that's right.
It's basically
Right.
ours as
Yeah,
long
it
as
would
we
be
meet
locked
these
in.
conditions.
That's
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be a legal document.
Well, that encourages people to contribute because they want to nail away and conclude the purchase of land.
Right.
And by having the option, you,
Right, and who knows down the road, people may decide, we want to do an alternate structure or, that we don't raise the total funds, maybe that will have to come up before the town again in 4 years or 5 years.
Yeah, whatever.
Just,
Yeah.
just by March, we just have to be able to come to some agreement by March
On the land.
on the
That's-
land,
That's
Yeah.
all we
Just on the
need
land.
to do.
Great.
just on the
Yeah,
land,
Okay,
right?
and we work with Mark directly.
Mhm.
Got it.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
That
Okay. Great.
Sounds like a better.
All righty.
Great.
Financial.
You'll be seeing us, Mark.
Like you.
Be looking forward to it.
Financial reports are up next.
Yep, no change from what I provided you
I had a
last
question.
Friday.
Yeah.
with recreation, we're at 115%.
And actually a little bit more than that because
Okay.
she's been continuing to collect money. Yep.
Now, what is in the budget for the fall programs and all of that stuff? Is there very little? Is that why we're the way we are?
Actually, we added one camp group
Okay.
to our program.
so that could
So that's
explain.
probably the extra 15% at this point. Usually, this time of year, we're around 70 to 80.
Right, because we have the budget. for-
So we're significantly higher, but remember, we cut back on our budget estimates at the beginning of the
Yeah,
year
that's-
going in. So we can adjust those in August.
Okay. Anything else on the financial
No,
report?
no,
I'm good.
Okay. All righty, minutes review and approval. So we had 3 different sets of minutes that we've seen at least twice. Anybody else have any adjustments?
I just had one,
Yep.
one comment. I think one of the general comments I made was that we don't identify anybody by position. And just as an aside, it reads very Soviet to me because that's how they talk, used to talk. First initial, last name. I'm not sure why the switch to like each sentence was turned out different rather than a
Just drafted.
flowing
It
narrative.
just drafted by a different person.
I figured
to
that
get
was-
these done.
I figured it was,
Mhm.
that was just
So-
it, but, I guess I'm not crazy about I don't know what you guys thought about it, it's just the constant repeating of a person's
Well,
name.
I made the comment as well that I think when we think about minutes, we ought to be thinking about making them as clear
Right.
as we can for the people that didn't attend the meeting and didn't watch it on there. And so I'm looking for a story to be
A
told.
narrative, right,
A narrative that
Right.
basically says, here's some of the things that came up, and if there was a decision made, document the decision. If there was a vote taken, I don't have any
Mhm.
problem with their saying, here's a vote and here's what,
Yeah, yeah.
it was unanimous or it was 2-1 or whatever it happens to be. But I just think the narrative works a lot better
Okay,
in terms of readability for people who have not been at the meeting.
Yep.
And I already gave my comments, and then I thought there were a couple of things that were missing or that I was confused about when I read them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the second set that went out though with that
It-
integrated your comments.
Yeah, but it was
if
still
the
missing.
Format
It was
is,
still missing one of my comments. That's
so the positions.
the positions.
Okay.
Yeah. You could do it without having to do it every time. The first time someone, you could do it at the very top when you
Mhm.
list the names.
Right.
And that way it just, you don't have to say it.
Right, you don't have to say it
Right.
every time.
Or the first time you
Somewhere in
mention
the
it.
document, the first time you mention
You
it.
could do it that way, or you
Yeah.
can do it at the top and you
Yeah.
list people by title.
Okay. That's fine. We were just getting caught up more than
I
anything
understand.
else because
Right,
there were a very large number of meetings very quickly, so.
Right.
right.
um,
Well,
that-
hopefully we're going to slow
Hopefully,
down a
we're gonna
little
slow
bit now.
down
And
a
it's,
little bit.
okay.
Yeah.
All righty. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the meetings of May 26th, June 9th, and May 10th as amended?
I will make that motion.
I have a second.
I will second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Department heads. Don't have anybody from rec because they're busy out training people, right?
They are.
Yeah, okay.
And Chris unfortunately got called.
Okay,
So.
well, we'll start with Dylan then.
So first of all, I'd like to just update you guys with Apex on that sewer main that goes to lagoons. July 12th is gonna be the day that they start breaking ground on that. Hopefully finish it that day to repair that. We also had Penta Corporation. It was another big contractor come out to the plant and look at some of the stuff that needed to be replaced that we had already looked at previously. Because they have like a 6-week gap now in between work. They had a job that fell through, so we may be able to get them in to do some work there while they have a break, which would be good because finding contractors right now for an extended period of time is almost impossible.
Mhm.
But really, other than that, I don't know if you guys had a chance to look through the comments in regards to the EPA draft permit. I don't know if you guys had any questions in regards to that or not.
That has been submitted and accepted by
That's fine.
EPA. We have the acknowledgement
Terms,
back from them,
right.
so they have them. We expect it'll be 60 to 90 days,
So late August.
late August,
Earliest.
Yep.
September.
probably in September. So,
Okay, and just for those that are watching or listening, as I read it and without getting into a whole lot of the technical details, what we asked is for a delay in the implementation of a lot of the new regulations until we are able to get our new treatment plant built, which was estimated at 42 months,
correct.
right?
So there weren't any of the permit requirements that we asked to change substantially. Mainly because we know we probably wouldn't succeed with that argument, but we did ask for that delay. Only because our existing plant cannot meet those new standards without a whole lot of money being spent on making improvements to it.
And the money we're spending in the plant now, is that to fix some of the equipment that's been, what,
A lot of it's original equipment.
rusted
And,
out,
Yeah.
et
it
cetera?
Doesn't perform or
Right.
doesn't work at all anymore.
And we don't have anybody to repair it and can't get parts for it. And we're going to be replacing it with something that can be repaired and we can get parts
Right,
for.
so a lot of it luckily isn't high dollar expensive pieces. A lot of it's like $1,000 here or there. So it's not like we're spending $30,000 or $40,000 on these pieces of equipment. But they do a huge part of the process when they're online.
Mhm.
So luckily, these having Penta come in, it will be a lot of those small jobs, which is why it adds up, because it might be a one-day job to do this one thing, but we have like 6 or 7 of those small things that need to be tackled. So luckily, it's not like we have $100,000, like I said, worth of equipment that needs to be replaced right now or anything like that.
Mhm.
It's just, this stuff will help us get through this 4-year window or 42-month window, and spend the least amount on chemical, it'll increase the performance of what we use for chemical essentially, a
Okay.
lot of this stuff, so.
Okay, and so we're spending a lower amount of money but this is probably things that we're not going to be able to use in the new plant.
Some of it we will purchase with an eye towards using it in the new plant.
Okay,
Or it will be something that we can put on the shelf as an interim piece if something breaks.
okay,
So it will remain in inventory as much as possible.
okay,
For example, we bought chemical feed pumps to replace our old, we had an original chlorine pump for a breakpoint chlorination. That was from 1974.
Mm.
So we replaced that with a pump that's suitable for future use at the new facility. It's a brand new peristaltic pump that we can adapt to anything that we want to use it for,
Yeah.
because we're looking forward. So we're trying our best, anything we buy, to look at it in the big, grand scheme of things and say, what can we do to make this be usable in the future? And if it can't be used in the future, what's the smallest amount of money we can spend on it? So.
okay,
And we also, like for the pipe project, we're going into that, making the minimal repair that we need to. If something catastrophic is found once we start digging, anything that we put in the ground, we're going to try to build so that it can be used in the new facility.
mm-hmm.
So we'll locate it or put in piping so that it can be adapted to the new plant.
Okay. Alrighty, what about the visit you had out at looking at the connector path and the treatment facility? You've had some discussions, right, about that?
Yes, we talked to the mountain about the relocation of the connector trail.
Mhm.
We have to dig the connector trail up to put in the new pipe for well 3
Mhm.
into the treatment plant.
Mhm.
So while we're doing that, and because of what happened out at well 3 with the vandalism, while the contractor is out there, we're going to have them give us a price for cutting in a trail that goes around the plant instead of in between the treatment building and well building 2.
Mhm.
So goes around the plant and comes up to the bridge from along West Branch Road instead of the existing connector trail. Right?
Okay, so when it goes around the plant, it somehow connects though to the upper part of the trail, right?
It will connect at the bridge, at the end of the west end of the bridge.
Okay, and where does it connect at the other end?
You'll still have to, like you do now, you'll still have to take your, where the trail comes into the open area
Right,
by the treatment building.
right.
It connects there,
Mhm.
goes around the plant and comes to the end of the bridge.
Right, it's about 150 feet up the trail past well building 4.
Okay,
It just goes out to the road, basically.
It just goes out to the road and
And then
circles
down
down
to
to
the
the
bridge.
bridge.
Right.
okay.
Just
And
follows
there's no
West Branch
problem with
Road.
it running behind the back of the treatment plant?
No, it'll, actually, I'll draw you a little picture.
Are we gonna put barbed wire on top of the fence around well 3?
Yes, concertina wire.
Concertina wire,
Uh-huh.
to keep people from.
And claymores.
No.
And what?
Claymore mines. No, we will not do that.
Just one will solve the problem.
Trying to get us in trouble. All right, so treatment building, well 2,
Well, 2, and the path is
the
coming
path
down.
comes in like this,
Mhm.
and the tree line currently goes like this, right?
Right,
And West Branch Road
Right,
comes down and
yeah,
the
and there's
bridges.
the bridges down there.
Bridges here.
Yeah.
All right, so right now, the trail and the groomer comes down here,
Mhm.
right? And follows the existing connector trail
Right,
out. So it will now, it'll come like this, go around, hug this tree line.
Mhm.
There's our access road currently comes in, it'll cross over that. We'll put a gate here so that no one can
Mhm.
use that, but we still have access for emergency repairs. The trail will come down around like this, following West Branch Road. It'll be in the tree line, so it won't be right beside the road,
Mhm.
but it will come in and it will meet in this area where they currently turn around, will be the same turnaround area.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
and then this will be our new driveway. Full-time, we'll keep this plowed and we'll put a fence around this area to control access to the two buildings. And this is where our electrical connections are and where the propane tanks are. So all this will be a controlled access area. Did I
Okay.
get that right?
And that's gonna have wire on the top of the fence.
That will also unfortunately have to have wire on the.
But no bombs.
No
Thank you.
bombs.
Done.
No
Okay.
mines.
All righty. Well, very interesting. Okay, anything else, Dylan? Oh, the drought. We should talk about the drought.
Yes. So we're year to date, without any rainfall from yesterday, we only had a tenth of an inch.
Mhm.
Yesterday was nothing essentially. We're still 5 inches behind from 2020. And from 2019, roughly 21 inches behind. So still significant, and it's only worsening. I mean, the ground conditions are still super dry.
Yeah.
It's the rain we get, it's just instantaneously soaking up, and it's not replenishing anything really.
Right.
So
So I've had some people ask me about this who think that there is not a drought. And I think if people really want to see evidence of this with their own eyes, they ought to do something like take a walk on Swan's Way. And you'll see that none of the streams that usually feed down in the Mad River have anything in them at this point in time. If you go down to the beach and where Simon's Path starts behind High Country, that is more river rocks than I have ever seen in my life, the entire time I've been up here. So it is very much dried out. And I heard Mark say at the community meeting on Tuesday, you've gotten a rain barrel to water things here. I was a little less technical so far. I got one on order.
Okay.
But I got a bucket and just put it near where the water runs off the roof of my house, and that thing filled up even though we didn't have that much rain. And that's enough for some of the small plants that are around. So you're able to use rainwater to do some irrigation with your landscaping and that type of thing. Just some ideas, but yes, it's bad. And according to everything that I've seen, it's getting worse, not better. So.
yeah, and even though the forecast is tough because everything that we see for rain is over a week out right now for anything substantial anyway.
Mhm.
And all that can change, obviously.
Right.
And with it being so dry, it seems like once we get into these drought phases, it just continues to persist until the seasons change.
Yeah.
Whether it's fall or late summer, whatever it may be. But
I don't think we ever had a mud season this year.
Not really.
No,
No.
and it just never happened. There was never enough runoff coming down to make mud. So, okay.
Is it possible that email you got with all the slides to link that on the website? People
Sure.
wanted to see what the current status is?
Yeah, we can do that. We'll-
Yeah.
To the DES
The
website.
DES, yeah.
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 Right. Okay, Jim.
Yes. Things are going well. I've got 2 guys on vacation this week, so a little short staff. But everything's going according to Hoyle. I've got a few things that we'll probably talk about later on under old business. So one thing that you probably will want to know is that July 3rd, we're scheduled for tank inspections, the reservoir and the holding tank at Pump House 4. So we have divers coming in and they will do our tank inspections, which are required by the state every 5 years, I believe. It's 5 or 6 years. So those will be done over the 4th of July weekend. And I'm waiting on another quote for the new pickup and plow. So I have one quote in and I'm waiting on a Ford quote, and I should probably have it at the end of the meeting, so
Okay,
hopefully, so those will be coming.
that was one
And
of
the
the,
inspection last week.
The inspection on the,
Dam.
oh, yes, I almost forgot that usually they stick in your mind because it's such a trying experience with with the dam inspections, but it went just well. I mean, he was more than happy with everything he saw. So
It was the shortest one we.
it was like,
Better be.
It better be. We
I mean,
just
it
spent
was-
$700,000 on it.
yeah,
wondering why he showed up.
yeah.
So
Quick question, if I may. I noticed that someone attached no trespassing signs to the town access road. We have our own signs up to the reservoirs off of Snow's Road. Was that us?
no,
That was the property owner.
Is that the new property owner put those signs up? And that gazebo back there, is that on that
That's
property?
on
that's
Yeah,
on
property.
that new, that cleared lot.
Okay,
One thing to note on the dam inspection, the inspection here also went well, the one for the lagoons.
Okay,
And he was very satisfied with the repairs that we made last year.
Right.
They are holding well. So
okay,
he was very pleased with that.
He was happy with the kind of rudimentary monitoring system we put in,
Yeah.
so,
and we're still waiting for the lights on the path, right?
yes, we are.
you could have
Um,
manufactured them yourself, I think, right?
Probably.
We may want to start doing that.
I know earlier this year, Mark, you had indicated that you had some concern about when we were gonna have to dredge the pond again.
Yes,
You still have that concern?
yes.
Yeah,
It's filling in rather
I
quickly.
think you can blame that primarily on Irene.
Well, and it wasn't directly from the
From-
storm, but
right.
the storm changed everything upstream.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing that you're seeing at the Campton Dam, where when we get big rain events now, the amount of material that is washing away from the damage done by Irene is piling up. And so we're seeing that same acceleration in Corcoran Pond that you're seeing all along the Mad River.
It's quite noticeable on alongside the ice arena. You walk up the ice
Yeah.
arena, it's,
Well, that's actually where
Right.
the stream,
yeah, that's where it's
course
coming, and
is,
so that's where
yeah.
it's depositing a lot
Yeah.
of,
mhm,
a lot of silt or
and
dirt.
if we're going to dredge that again, that needs to be coordinated with the resort and any projects or whatever that they're looking at down
right,
the road. But
right.
it just gets more expensive the more we wait to do it. We're
Mhm.
just gonna have more material to move.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Did you mean with Tyrell?
with Tyrell.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Because we wouldn't want to because again, unless we can find somebody to go in there with some kind of barge or whatever, we're gonna have to drain the pond to do it like we did in 2009. That causes the loss of the summer. You don't want to do that one year and then have a major construction project
Yeah.
the next year.
The problem with that particular method is that you have to have a large dewatering area.
Yeah, and I don't know where that would
And,
be.
because if there are dredges that float on top and they suck everything up. But you know, most of that is water. So you have to have a large area to discharge
Put it
it
someplace.
so that it can settle out and then you can collect it.
And even, remember, even when we drained the pond and then dredged it, we still had a laydown area because it had to de-water
Right.
for X number of days before they could truck it.
Mhm.
So it's a mess,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So,
okay, well,
Is it, speaking of Irene, is it 10-year anniversary this
yes, it
August?
is. August,
August,
was it August or
September,
So
October?
I have to look.
October?
October? I
No,
think it was 2011.
it was 2011 was the storm.
With August.
Was it August? I think it was the end of August.
Commemoration?
Yeah, better left.
I didn't say celebration.
Not a celebration,
The
just a
commemoration,
That
given the
might be-
changes it caused.
Yeah,
okay. Shall we talk about the capital projects as long as we have Jim here?
sure.
So skipping down to 8A, capital projects review, the wastewater treatment plant and the response to the EPA, I think we already talked about. The water system project, temporary crossing repairs.
Yep, we've had a couple of discussions with the engineers and while the bid process is out for the new crossing, we're gonna see how the contractor works out for the new crossing. And if the, the digging that they do in the stream bed is sufficient and we get material enough, we will ask DES under that crossing permit to come up by the bridge and put material on top of the existing concrete structure that's showing.
Have we had the ability to get in there with a camera or anything to see if there's any deterioration to the line inside of the casement?
Yeah,
Is there any way or any theory on what's happened in there because it's been exposed?
well, you know, my personal opinion is that this, because the river's so low right now,
Okay.
the sand is just constantly corroding away the top.
Yeah,
of the
that's what I was
concrete.
wondering
And the
about, because the
rocks.
water is getting in there, it's creating,
Right,
Yeah.
the water levels typically, even in the lowest conditions, a foot higher right
Yeah.
now than it is currently. So that's my belief, is that it's
Yeah.
constant erosion just from.
yeah, and I'm concerned at how eroded the actual pipe is and where. And if we're seeing some pressure points on the pipe where the water's getting in and the sand is filled in there and it's just pounding.
Right.
It's
It's
not even quite sure what the actual dimensions of that water crossing are.
Yeah.
So, and just, I mean, intuitively, I would say that the pipe itself, the transmission line itself is probably okay at this point. But because the protective outer casing is being eroded, then how long that will stay that way is anybody's best guess. And the nature of concrete, just because of the way it is manufactured, once it gets roughed up, sand and small rocks just keep eroding it and it goes on, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. You know, it doesn't hold up.
And that matches with what we're seeing because when that was covered up, when it was first, when the sandy first eroded away, you could see that it was still smooth, right? So
Mhm.
while it was underground, it was okay. But ever since it's been exposed, it's deteriorated so quickly.
And what's the material the pipe inside is made of?
It's
Ductile.
ductile iron, yeah,
I'm sorry?
ductile iron.
Okay.
Now, we had planned in the new system, once it got up and running, we were still gonna use that line,
Yes,
right?
we are.
And we are, so we still wanna have that.
We
Option.
have new valves that will go in as part of the work that we're doing
So you
this
would be
summer.
able to
Right.
reverse.
So we'll be able to reverse,
Right.
but also that may give us an opportunity if we can figure out the right timing, once we have the new crossing
In
in
and
and we
the
can
valves.
use it, then we can
Shut it off.
do what Mike has suggested
Yeah.
and we can shut down the old
Well,
crossing
let's
and camera it and
let's
look.
take a step back here.
Yeah.
What if we don't get a bid accepted by anyone to do this crossing this year? I think we need to accelerate getting that pipe dealt with as our top priority to really understand what's going on with it, because if that pipe goes, our water supply's gone.
Well, no, okay, yes,
Yes.
you're absolutely right. You're
Yes.
absolutely right. Our way of dealing with that is we can't cut that line to look at it, okay, to camera it. We can't put anything in there because we are using it.
No, I'm
So-
not talking about in the line. I'm talking about in the casement of the line, finding a way to maybe divert the water because the water is so low. I'm just talking Huck Finn stuff here because I don't know what I'm talking
I know
about.
where you're.
Yeah, I know.
But is to go further up in the river, a little bit in the river,
Yeah.
create a barrier that diverts the water away from the casement. And then someone can get into that casement and see what's going on,
So
just to take advantage of the water being
when
as
we-
low as it is.
When we spoke with the engineers.
Yeah.
They had mentioned that this would be a huge permitting process just to put anything additional in the.
Really, to go in a matter of,
You wouldn't think so, but that's what.
an emergency issue.
Well, and that's why we're gonna, that's why if the contractor,
All right, I'm done.
no,
No, that's,
but I want to address,
Yeah.
but your question is a good one. And what we've agreed to with the engineer is we are going to use a new fire hose, basically a 4-inch fire
Mhm.
hose, which we will hook up to our existing hydrants, okay? If we found that pipe was compromised and we can't use it anymore, our temporary fix to get water up to the reservoir is to put a large diameter
On the bridge.
hose on the bridge. And we will pump water from one hydrant to another, which will feed the system.
We'll try to bypass.
And
the
we'll
river.
bypass the river crossing,
right.
even on a temporary basis, because we only have one crossing, Mike, you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. We've got to address that. And DES would work with us if our only crossing were compromised. They will give us special permission to go in there and fix it. But I agree with Dylan. I don't think they will just allow us to divert the water. I'd love it if they would, but I just don't think they're gonna let us go in there.
Yeah, and Dave Edson, who is their, what is he considered, Mark,
Their water guru.
yeah, he's retired from the firm, but he's who they hire as a contract operations type individual. He was saying that right now, if we, try to get into the vault, it could cause more damage.
Yeah.
Because we might not be able to patch it and have it hold because of the constant water flow. So, my initial thought was the same as yours. Well, can we get in there and look at it? And that's when he said, well, if we do that, it might cause more damage.
We can ask, what about like a hydraulic cement type of thing where we actually patch the hole,
Well, that's what we said.
And-
And he said it might cause more.
might cause more damage?
You wouldn't, it sounds counterintuitive.
It's not a Flex Seal job,
Yeah.
No,
I wish it was. One can of Flex Seal and it's fixed, yeah.
So we're gonna give up on that pipe completely?
No, we're
No.
gonna use it as long as we can.
Right, but it's sounding like as long as we can is,
Well, that's the question, as long as we can, because if we don't get the project done this year,
right.
we
I
might
get
be looking
that,
at some
right.
real issues.
Well, I think your
Right.
concern, the worst part of what you said, Mike, is if that were to be compromised in the winter.
Yeah.
We'd be really hurting. So we just have to, I want to get it covered up again as quickly as possible. So I hope we get a contractor and I hope they do a good job so that we can get some of that
Ooh.
spoil covering up the
Mhm.
casing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Road projects.
You'll have bid, we will get bids back July 2nd.
Second,
And we'll have a bid opening at 3 PM on the 2nd. And we have talked to contractors. This is for the intersection of Village or Valley Road and
Moose Run.
Moose Run.
Which is a mess.
It is a mess.
Yeah.
So that is our emergency. And that'll be from the golf clubhouse to the intersection.
Right. And potentially taking out the island because it's kind of in the way.
Yes,
Do the moose,
Taking out the island.
taking out the.
do the moose crossing homeowners know the island's going?
I have talked to Tom. I don't know if he is,
All right, just.
if he has
just-
What about
communicated
The
that.
golf club.
And the golf club really wants it gone. Yes.
Okay,
Everybody has been in agreement.
we can give them the trees if they want to replant them, I suppose.
Oh, actually,
Actually,
he
Two
asked about that.
The two trees.
The
and
tree,
Two trees?
the plantings
The plants, yeah.
themselves can, it's up to whoever at Moose Run, if we can distribute them, anybody that wants them. The two trees have been asked to, by Craig at the golf course, if we could transport them down and he'll plant them down where we had previously removed some trees
On Boulder Path.
on Boulder Path.
Yeah. Matter of fact, just to segue quickly, was it Craig who put out the whiskey barrel with
No,
the,
No, that was
that's
Sean.
Sean.
That was Sean.
That's Summer Blooms.
summer blooms, yeah. Because I thought Craig had talked to us about removing the two stumps, I think, that are along Boulder
Yep.
Path.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's where he's gonna plant the two trees.
Mhm.
So he's amenable to doing the work himself
Okay,
at this point in time.
having us remove the stumps, but he'll put the trees in there,
He's gonna cut the stumps flat so he can mow.
or just cut them flat.
Yeah.
And our other road projects are all on hold until we hear,
The federal funding,
Mhm.
right,
unless we want to spend our 900,000,
right.
but we can't get any federal money if we do the work beforehand. They won't reimburse.
Yeah, so we're on hold.
So it doesn't make any sense to do any of the minor projects?
We looked at the minor ones. We're thinking that the cost of redoing the intersection is going to use our available money
Right.
Okay,
that we would
We'll
use,
make that decision once we
open those
open
bids.
those bids.
okay, great.
And just on the subject of trees, we've scheduled this Friday. There is a tree at the corner of Valley and Lost Pass or Moose Run.
The one closest to
The one closest to the road, which is on the borderline of being in our right of way. We've scheduled to have that taken down.
Oh, are they taking down any trees in the Stone Tower Monument Yard? While someone is here?
No, but we can certainly look at that.
Like maybe the dead one?
I saw a great
Before it falls
picture
on
of when the
his
stone tower was first
garage.
built
I've seen it with
and how high the ramparts were at that point in time. Yeah,
all the people in their Sunday best building the rocks.
yes,
I've seen that picture.
exactly.
So we do not
Right.
want at this point in time. We also looked at the 5 recommended roads and there just isn't anything that needs immediate attention the way that
Okay.
intersection does.
But just for the record, for people listening or watching, that tree needs to come down.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you look at one corner, if you go
That
around
tree
the
is
corner,
either
of it,
gonna come down Friday.
One way or the
be-
other.
Be down by sometime in the not so distant
Right.
future.
because we are trying to preserve trees.
Yes, we are.
But it is pretty rotten.
And the property owner, because it is right on the edge
new-
of the
new,
right of way, the new
Right.
property owner knows that we're taking it down and is okay with it.
Now, which side of the road is this on?
It's on the golf clubhouse side of the road. It's the one
Got the two tall
closest to,
pines.
the big pine
two
that's
tall
kind of
pines,
leaning
yeah.
over.
The one closest to the road, if you go
one
around
closest to the road.
on the other side
It
of
is
the road, you look and,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay. All righty. Do we have anything else for these two gentlemen? More or less cleaned their items off the agenda, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
You can stay if you want. Any update from rec department or?
The rec department is in staff training this week and the camp program begins next week and they are ready to go. We still have a waiting list that they are working on. So if anybody cancels, we should be able to backfill the vacancies.
Great.
And the boats are working well. All the floats are in and at the pond. They're also getting ready for the family festival on Packard's Field over the 4th of July
Right,
weekend.
Any idea when the ice arena is opening?
I do not. I have not gotten an update from Fred lately.
Okay.
I will ask him and get back to you. But they are continuing. I went in there last week and they are continuing with their improvements, refrigeration system, and working on that.
Okay. Calendar review. Our next regular meeting, I know that we want to delay it off the 14th
Yeah, the 14th
because that's the day
is
the bids are coming in on the road,
the water.
the water.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
We
going
hope.
to be,
We hope.
to be determined, right?
Yeah, if we could have it sometime Monday through Wednesday of that following week.
Okay.
I'm
So
good except
that,
Tuesday afternoons.
okay,
Wednesday afternoon will be
the
bad for me.
21st.
That, I'll be good up till about 11 on the 21st.
Okay,
So. a
So
morning
we'll-
That should
meeting.
be fine. Just send out an email.
So anytime Monday, Tuesday morning, or Wednesday morning, did you say?
Yeah.
Tuesday afternoon, you're out?
Right.
I'm no good on Wednesday morning, but Monday and Tuesday are fine, and Wednesday afternoon is fine.
okay. So Monday or Tuesday morning or Monday afternoon is what it sounds like everybody's available.
Mhm. Okay. All righty, and planning board special meeting is tomorrow?
That's a
Okay,
live meeting or is that live and Zoom or
Yeah,
live?
it's gonna
It's
be live.
live, yeah. I mean, it will
Lively.
be like we are.
Right.
it
It'll be
will
available live on YouTube.
You can come too. if you
I'll
want.
watch from the comfort of my own.
8 o'clock. In the morning, yeah.
be there, be
PJs.
square, yeah.
Yep, just me and my bowl of cereal.
There you go.
Project bid openings and reviews,
That was just the 14th.
all right, okay. New business, we have an inventory of taxable property.
Yep, that is an annual form that you guys see. Each year, we are not planning on using the PA 28. So ask that you sign that.
We all sign it?
Yes.
All righty, and then we have some tax abatement requests.
Yeah, and actually, Margaret, there's two parts to that. There's the 3 abatement recommendations from Emily Goldstein, our assessing agent, on the applications that we received for tax year 2020. And then we have the settlement agreement for Northern New England Telephone on the 2013 to 2016 abatement requests that have been in court.
Right.
So there's 2 parts to it. So however you would like to.
Okay, did everybody have a chance to look at the
I did.
abatements?
I think the abater is right. That her reasoning is perfect.
Yeah.
And I agree to accept her recommendation. I would like to make the motion to accept her recommendations.
On, is it for all of them?
3.
On all 3? Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I wish there was a way we could help Sean
Well,
because
there's
he's done so
PPE,
much.
there's PPE money and all that other stuff. It's not
Yeah.
the town to help him. It's a business. It's not his loss of
I
value.
understand. No, I agree with you with the decision. Just
Mhm.
fortunate we can't really.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I would like to move that we accept the abatement requests, the three of them as recommended to us. Can I have a second?
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so there will be, we have the official abatement forms, which was another 10 pages that I didn't want to put in the packet.
Mhm.
So we will prepare the forms, but they will need to be signed by all of you. We can email you when those are ready.
Okay,
Okay,
Great.
but we should be able to do that this week, before the end of the week, maybe. Yeah, either that or
I'm here
early
next
next
week.
week.
Next week's
But
fine.
we need to get them back to them before July 1st.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the big thing.
Next
so-
week's fine.
All right.
okay.
Do we have to make a motion to accept the settlement as recommended by town council?
Yes, and
In regards
as,
to utilities.
as proposed with two, as I said in the packet, we recommend that we take the two payment method. So there would be a payment on or before December 1st this year, and on or before September 1st next year. Equal payments of $28,744.50. That amount is not a budgeted amount, it is in overlay, which is set by you each year, based on the abatements that you've granted for the year. So we would take the abatements from the three that you just approved, whatever that total is, add it to the 28,000 in the settlement, and that'll be the overlay amount for this year for abatements.
Okay.
And then we can either do that out of taxes or out of the fund balance at tax rate setting time.
Tax rate then, okay, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see that item on the
It was a
agenda. I saw it
second-
in the
It
packet.
was the second email that went out,
Okay,
had the 2-page settlement agreement
okay.
here.
All right.
There's a
So
place,
can I have a motion to accept the settlement agreement?
I made the motion.
You made the
yeah, he
motion.
moved.
Okay, you want us to sign
Can
it?
I have a second?
I will second the motion.
All those in favor?
Oh.
Aye.
Aye.
These three ones here. Alrighty.
Too long and confusing motion. Like that.
As Chair, you get first.
It's the
right to sign.
lines on the right-hand side, yeah.
It was a worthy battle, right?
It was a good try.
Sometimes you get the bear and sometimes.
Have the other communities that were involved in this also decided to settle?
Yes, the last time I talked to Walter, there were 15 that had taken the immediate settlement like we did.
Okay,
I think there were 3 that wanted to continue negotiations in the hope of,
May we go with God.
yeah, exactly. If you haven't gotten there since 2013, you're not gonna.
Good luck. Yeah.
okay. Also under new business, we have review roadwork specs.
The, what was that? Yeah,
that the,
I'm sorry, we had
discussed
already
that,
covered it. It's the specifications that I
Valley.
put in here of the
Oh,
bids
okay.
that are due on
Okay,
July
for-
2nd.
Right.
Sully and-
For the
Yes,
road out there that needs to be repaired.
right.
Okay.
So-
Back on old business, the mask resolution. Given everything that has happened within the past month, I'd like to propose that we allow the mask resolution to expire as of the end of this month. Does anybody have a problem with that?
I would second that motion.
Okay. So everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that gives our businesses a little time if they want to change things. I noticed that Wendy has already said that fully vaccinated people are welcome to be in her store without a mask.
And same thing with Jugtown.
With Jugtown,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there may be a little bit of, I don't know, confusing message with some of the signs that are still up, that we put up. Now that we don't have a mask resolution,
Hmm,
no big deal.
yeah, but they also took a lot of them down, so.
They did
Yeah.
they took the ones that specified masks
Yeah, I noticed.
down. They're more of like be kind.
Wash
yeah,
your, wash your
Wash your
hands,
hands.
Yeah.
maintain some
Pause,
social
whatever it was,
distance, yeah.
Good.
So, okay, all righty. I don't know, it looks like we're through the agenda. Board concerns and directives. Anyone have anything?
I did want to just point out, if you don't have anything, that our ARPA money we have applied for,
Oh,
the
yeah.
funding. But the funding is much less.
Then,
than
I
we
was
were
shocked at that
initially
number compared
told.
to the other numbers. Was
we-
it $23,000?
We're getting a total of 23,000.
And could you tell us what Lincoln is getting for the record, please?
For the record,
Yeah,
yes.
I can't find that page
I
right away,
actually
but
can,
just-
it's right here.
Yeah, how many
Um,
million? Three?
Lincoln is getting 184,000, Campton 345,000, Thornton 265,000, Plymouth 718,000, Woodstock 142,000, and we're getting 23,000.
And why, what is it
It's all based
on?
on population.
And
Of
they're still-
200 and.
They're
212.
still basing it on a
2010
2010 census.
Census. And no way to.
Not even adjusted.
Not even adjusted.
And
Okay,
so I have told several people at the state level about our dissatisfaction with that, and I've told our congressional delegation
mhm,
that it's totally unfair.
mhm,
And there's probably nothing we can do. But we'll see if, what will happen though, if towns do not apply for money, they will create a pot
And it'll be divided out,
and then it will be redivided out among,
and we'll get about
those-
$8 based
and we'll
on.
probably get
Point
$8.
0.6, whatever it was,
yeah,
percent.
Yeah. And that's the other really discouraging part of this is, all they had to do was base it on some formula on a percentage of the budgets
Right,
rather than.
which
I
is
mean,
more up
which
to
would have
date.
been- Which
more
would have
up to
been
date.
very much up to date, and at least it
Right.
reflects the services that the town is
Exactly.
providing.
mhm,
As
You
opposed
know,
to
as
10-year-old
opposed to
Yeah.
11-year-old
11-year-old data.
that didn't have anything to do with reality when it was developed anyway,
right,
so.
okay. Any correspondence?
None at this point. Let me just make sure we talked about the drought. No, just I provided you with the information sheet on our bid for the water project. We have a non-mandatory meeting for interested contractors on Friday, which hopefully will give us an indication as to whether
Who's gonna-
anybody's going to bid on this.
There's gonna be a light
Or not.
refreshment served.
There is adult beverages, whatever it takes.
We may end up having to pay them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, come.
So, but no,
Bonus for bidding.
we'll let you know if anybody shows up for the meeting and
Okay,
how that goes. We'll give you a report on Friday.
okay,
I also provided you with the packets of the information that I provided to the Municipal Solid Waste Committee. And at least they now have where we are right now.
mhm,
There was a suggestion that we try to set up a pilot program with Campton Thornton Transfer Station to see if we could get people to volunteer to recycle down there, but Campton Thornton said no. The
Oh.
transfer station said.
As they did a couple of years ago when we tried to
As
do it.
they did a couple of years. So
okay,
that is all I have right now. Can't
okay,
think of anything else that we need to update you on. I do have one item for non-public.
right. So, looks like it's about 4:12. Can I have a motion to go into
I will
non-public?
make the motion to go into
Can I have a
non.
second?
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
I,
Thank you, guys.
You guys, have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
You too.
the Novocaine is wearing off and he
Oh.
filled all the way up into my brain.
Oh, dear.
Uh,
This
I
is
was
a root
afraid
canal?
that